Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I am doing a Q&A. It is literally January the 1st, 2024. So there's a fair amount of questions here about the year we've just come from and where things might be going. So I've got a list here. We're just going to go through them. Thank you everyone for submitting questions for today's video. And we are starting off with the first question, which is, what cards do I think will be popular in 2024? Like, what will be the trend in 2024? So I think I'm going to say here that One Piece is just going to continue to grow. I think One Piece will continue to be popular throughout 2024. Whether that does have a little bit of a drop off at some point in 2024, who knows? But so much is happening for the series itself. Like there's an episode 1 being remade of the anime that's in production. Obviously season 2 for the live action's confirmed. The TCG itself keeps growing both in the player base and collector base, although a lot of people I think at the moment are getting into it purely because of money, because all the other TCGs aren't necessarily doing too well in terms of prices. But One Piece has just continued to grow for the last year and continues to grow as of right now. So I think it will still be very popular in 2024. And I think Pokemon will still be popular in 2024 as well. And I know those that are just into Pokemon will feel like it's in a slow part of the market, that it's declining. But and although it has in terms of prices, especially for modern and things like that, modern sealed, compared to some other TCGs, it's actually doing okay. So yeah, I think Pokemon, I think One Piece, I think they're still going to be popular and do well in 2024. Now, obviously, time will tell. That is just my expectation of those two TCGs. So next up, we've got, what is one TCG product that I didn't buy this year but wish I had? This is a really hard one. I think questions about like the whole year, there's always like a recency bias involved where you're always going to think about the things that happened close, maybe like a month ago compared to the start of 2023. Especially me, my memory's terrible. So I forget like what sets have even come out at the start of 2023 and question if it was even this year or last year. Wow, or the year before. I think though, if I had to say one product that I wish I had bought, I feel like it's easy to say like One Piece OP01 first print blue bottom boxes. I did buy one recently, but I feel like I wish I'd gotten involved at the start of One Piece's release as the trading card game. But I do have that product, so I don't know, I feel like I can't say that. I think I'll go with the Japanese Pokemon Classic Collection. So I didn't do enough digging into the difference between Japanese and English when that all got announced. And for those of you that don't know, the English Classic Collection, it's a reprint of like all the sort of like base set cards. You've got like the standard Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise holos in there. But in the Japanese version, the holo was different. They had different foiling, and the yellow borders around the outside were foiled along with the card, whereas the English version, we didn't get that foiling on the borders. And just because of that, I think the Japanese one looks a lot better. And it's actually now more expensive than the English one if you're buying them sealed. Originally, when they came out, obviously the Japanese one was cheaper. Now, I don't know, like I might not have even been able to have got the Japanese version at retail price or just above retail price when it came out. I don't know what the demand was, like, because I wasn't picking it up in Japanese. I was waiting for it to come out in English. But yeah, I think I wish I'd had the Japanese version, and ideally I would like both. I'd like to have the Japanese sealed and English sealed, but I think I recently saw someone selling a Japanese sealed Classic Collection for like £500, so I'm probably not going to pick that one up. But yeah, I did wish I looked into that a bit more and picked one of them up last year when they came out. Next up, we've got, is there one card you regret getting rid of? financially or emotionally? Yes, there is. I've mentioned it before on the channel. That is the Bunny Girl My Trial Deck SP that I bought raw. I graded, it got 9.5, and I sold it. And although I sold it and made profit on that card, probably twice what I paid for it, or nearly 3 times what I paid for it. I mean, right now that same card's it's easily in the 5 figures. We're talking over $10,000, £10,000 for a copy of that card graded in English. Yeah, that is both financially and emotionally, but I feel like they're always closely tied, because financially, if you've made a decision like that and you've potentially lost the opportunity of a lot of money being made, there's an emotional tie to that as well, of that money, like, yeah, the monetary value that you potentially could have had. But I think emotionally as well, just because that is the most iconic, like, Weiss Schwarz trading card, and I did have it, I owned it, I graded it, and I decided to let it go. And would I still have it now? I'd like to think so. Like, if I didn't make the decision at the time, then yeah, potentially I'd like to think that I'd still own it, because it is the grail, it is the first edition Charizard of Weiss Schwarz. But with that said, you know, that's the choice I made at the time. I felt there was a bit of risk involved in holding on to that card, because they could reprint it. They were reprinting the set, although not the trial decks. So yeah, I just felt like there was a lot of risk involved for the price of the card. And with Bushiroad's track record, there's not always like consistency with what they do. So I just thought it was a lot of risk, and I'd rather put it into cards that I felt were at less risk of changing, in terms of like more being printed. So I ended up buying some trophy cards, some Springfest Alice Regional Champion trophy cards, which are actually worth less than what I paid for them. So it all just went horribly wrong. And that's not because more of those cards came out. Like, their trophy cards, only a certain amount were awarded and given out worldwide, but the interest in those cards just dropped off, as each year there's just a set of new trophy cards that come out for all sorts of different events, which can take away some of the demand from the trophy cards that were coming out at the time. So yeah, that was a big mistake, but that's kind of, you know, you can't get everything right, and that's what I felt was best at the time. So I'm never going to look back and think, well, I can look back and think I shouldn't have done that, but I don't necessarily like sit in a lot of regret, because it's happened, and that's what I thought was right when I made that decision. So it is what it is. But you know, I bought a Japanese copy of the card. I still need to send it off to get graded. So I've still got the same artwork, which is nice. Still an expensive card, but you know, nowhere near as expensive as that English version. So that's definitely the biggest regret. Favorite card pickup this year? I'm trying to think of everything I've got this year. So the Japanese My Trial Deck SP, that was this year. So potentially that. This card right here, super pre-release Luffy One Piece prize trophy card, the very first one that ever came out to English. It is literally P001 on the card number. It's going to be one of them, and I think I'm going to say the Luffy, but that is because it was fairly recent. That was literally like a month ago. It's tied between the two. I'm going to have to pick two. It's both of them. So I hope that is satisfies your question. Favorite TCG set of any card game this year, which we're going back to 2023, as that's when I asked you guys for some questions. So there's so many sets. I'm trying to think what came out in what different TCGs. I think if we're looking at One Piece, OPO5 for me, again, recent, but was just huge and so exciting. The cards inside, you had the signature card for the first anniversary of the TCG with Oda having his signature on the card. You had 3 manga rares, one of them being the first Luffy manga rare. It was just a very exciting set. Very popular set, still is. The prices on the sealed boxes are just crazy because it's just such a good set. Now thinking to Weiss Schwarz, we've got lots of good sets that came out this year. I mean, Disney 100 came out this year. That was still this year. And although that's not popular now, like I wouldn't say it's a popular set now, when it came out, there was so much excitement for that set. There were so many different types of people opening that set that would not have opened any Weiss Schwarz prior to that. And I think that's really exciting. And yeah, honestly, I think I'm going to have to say Disney 100 just because of how fun that was, just seeing people online getting involved, opening it. And even if they came to Weiss Schwarz just for that Disney 100 Japanese set and then left, it felt like a very fun, exciting time. And I feel like when it came out, it was just, no one expected a Disney and Weiss Schwarz set to come out. Obviously, Lorcana is now out, and I feel like there's been tons of other Disney 100 sort of sets in different TCGs that came out since. But Weiss Schwarz was pretty much like the one of the first ones, and it just felt like a really fun and exciting time. So yeah, although I wouldn't say it's my favorite set right now, I feel like I had the best time and memories when that came out, so I'm gonna pick that one. What's your 2023 been like? Highlights of 2023 and goals for 2024. 2023 has been a weird one. It's been a roller coaster, I think. So I actually didn't start posting Weiss Schwarz content until I think it was like March or April time in 2023. So that was kind of the start of really getting a bit more serious with my channel. Like, I'd posted Pokemon content in the past during COVID and lockdown, and then I just left it and neglected the channel. But yeah, come 2023, I really decided I wanted to make some Weiss Schwarz content and put content out there. And obviously I've been doing that ever since. So there's loads of highlights for 2023. I think it was my first London card show. That was kind of an inspiration to start the channel in a way. Like, it just going to that first card show, meeting people that I'd spoke to online for a long time, and just being in that community, like it was just amazing and really inspiring. And it really just motivated me and made, just kind of like reignited that passion for collecting the cards and what you can do with that. And that's when I really started making content for the channel again, and have been ever since. So yeah, so much has happened in 2023, but the last few months I've actually struggled massively mentally with just my mental health, to be honest. So it's been high. I've had really high highs and really low lows, possibly the lowest in my life, and it's been a struggle, but I'm getting there, and I'm a lot better than where I was, because I wouldn't even be able to make content. Functioning was just extremely hard. So I'm glad to be coming out of that now, but obviously, yeah, it's been a weird one. 2023 has been both amazing and really difficult. But from that hard time, you learn a lot, and it does help you grow. It really does. So I feel really hopeful going into 2024 that I can push myself and challenge things, and I'm only going to become like I know it sounds cheesy, but a better version of myself. Like, I really believe that, and I really think that the things that I've done to get through what I have is really going to help me for the rest of my life. So goals for 2024. Now, I've been asked this literally like just before I started recording, like, what are my collecting goals for 2024? I feel like I don't have any, which is weird, but I think with running the TCG sort of like card cami business and things like that, my priorities are sort of in different places. Like, I want to grow the store more. I've got more goals for the store. I've got more goals for maybe some content and things like that. But in terms of collecting, like, I've literally just picked up the super pre-release Luffy card like a month ago. That is a 4-figure cards. That was very expensive. There's nothing in particular that I'm like, I must get this, I really want that, because I want to grow other things like the store, for example. So it's hard to buy cards that are very, very expensive when I know I could use that money to help achieve other things and potentially achieve other things. So, I mean, goals outside of collecting for 2024, I just want to open stuff. Like, I just want to open cards and sets, and whether I get something, that's amazing. Like, if I hit a pull, fantastic, but I don't necessarily want to go out and buy all the pulls and all the hits that I'm after. I'm just really enjoying making content, opening things, whether I hit something or not. Obviously it's more fun if you get a pull, but I'm not necessarily going out my way to master set anything at the moment. I'm just enjoying the hobby for what it is, opening a booster box here or there, making some content, and just trying to push the store and get it to, just try and get it as far as I can and make that site and store the best possible store it could be. So yeah, I guess they're my goals for 2024, and to constantly work on myself and what I've been struggling with. So I have a lot of like goals and things that I potentially avoid because of mental health, and I'm really trying to practice like exposure therapy and push what I used to believe I could and couldn't do. So yeah, for me, that's my main goals for 2024. What's been your best lesson of 2023? Was there a moment of inspiration at all this year? Best lesson, I think, from everything that's been going on in 2023 for me, is you really need to prioritize your health, whether that is mental or physical. I think both of those things are a huge priority, because without them, you can't, it affects everything. You can't necessarily do anything that you'd like to do or enjoy things that you'd like to enjoy. So biggest lesson is just to look after yourself no matter what, because without the mental or physical health, you'll struggle to function, or just any of your goals. Like, they all become such like just not a priority anymore, and you don't realize that until you're affected by it, right? So until something happens that might shake, so yeah, like shakes your physical and mental health, you don't realize how much, I guess, you take things for granted in terms of how you're doing. So yeah, biggest lesson is to not only look after yourself, but try to work on things if you know there's issues there, rather than ignore them and then bury yourself into whatever it is you escape into, whether that's playing games or collecting cards. Like, sometimes we use these hobbies as distractions, and I think, yeah, really try to be aware of like what's going on internally, because it does catch up with you, and that is not fun. So yeah, I think that's the biggest lesson. Moment of inspiration, I think I mentioned it earlier, going to that first London card show, meeting everyone, feeling that community in real life, other than just talking on Instagram. That was a huge moment of inspiration for me, and like I said, that pushed me and inspired me to start making content, and start making Weiss Schwarz content specifically. So that was a huge moment of inspiration. But in general, like, I'm always inspired by what other people are doing, what other content creators are doing, people that are running stores, people that are opening stores. Like, I find all of that just so inspiring, that people have turned this passion and something they like into something they probably couldn't have even dreamed of. Like, I'm sure if you'd asked them like 3, 4, 5 years ago, like, you're gonna own a TCG store, like, you'd be like, what are you on about? But to see that happen is incredible. Things like that just inspire me every day. So yeah, it's amazing. Next question: what TCGs are you most looking forward to collecting in 2024? You might be able to guess this. I'm gonna say Weiss Schwarz and One Piece. I don't collect too much Pokemon anymore. I I don't really open that much. It's just as and when, but I don't collect master sets or anything like that. So for me, One Piece, Weiss Schwarz, and possibly some Union Arena at the end of 2024. We'll have to see. I think it's October 2024. It's coming to English. So as long as they stay on track, I'll be opening some to buy and potentially put on the store. So I will be looking forward to collecting some of it and seeing how it does. Next question is, how is it running a TCG business? It's fun. It's amazing because it's combining a hobby with work, but it doesn't necessarily feel like work. And I think that comes down to the fact that it is kind of like a part-time thing. I don't pay myself from it, so I don't see it as work, and I don't, have a full-time job, so it's not. I'm sure it'd be different if you were doing it as a full-time job. It would potentially start to feel like work at some point. But I don't do the volumes where it is a full-time job, right? So it's really easy for me to run it and do orders and things like that. And I do find it fun. I do enjoy the running side of it. There's a lot more to it, I think, than people would expect in terms of like things you need to set up and things you need to do, along with costs. And I know it's an online store, so compared to like a physical store, the costs are like literally not even comparable, right? But even that, I think a lot of people underestimate running costs, even just an online store, until you do it yourself. So yeah, I mean, I love it. It's a weird one because I never really wanted to run a store. It was only because Top Deck In were going under, and they were like the go-to for Weiss Schwarz product, and it just felt like a big hit to the UK. Like, where else can you get it from that's reliable? They were the most reliable. Not only that, they had tournament store PR packs because they held events at their physical store. And they got product in on time and for a fairly good price, whereas some other sites I used, you would be waiting months and months. They wouldn't even tell you it's delayed. They wouldn't even tell you they haven't got it yet. You'd have to chase them, and you'd never get your product. Even though it was a little bit cheaper, it never turned up, and that happened multiple times until I found Top Deck In were reliable. So they went under, and it just felt like a big hit to Weiss Schwarz in the UK. And I had no idea how it was going to go. I just knew I was going to sell some of my collection to fund it, to see how it went, and it has been going really well, and I am really happy with how it has been. And I didn't think I'd be invested in it as much as I am. Like, I have goals and things for 2024 that I want to do with the store, and it's just funny how things work out, right? But I absolutely love it. I find it really fun. I like the fact that I can make content and it all kind of comes full circle. So if people ask where to get it from, you can get it from my store and things like that. So I think all of it works really well, and I hope to continue supplying people with products at affordable prices and just be that reliable go-to store for those types of products, and hopefully I can expand it slightly in 2024. Your most exciting opening memory. So I know what this is. This is being 10 years old or 11 years old, and my mum buying me a Pokemon booster pack base set for £2.50 at the local newsagents, and pulling a base set Charizard from that one booster pack. Like, I've always remembered that. I'm always going to remember that. And that is literally where all of this came from. That is my most exciting opening memory. Despite, that's back in a time where you don't know how much that's worth. Could have been £100, could have been £10. Like, no idea. You're just a kid. It's like the best card in the set that everyone wants. And you've literally pulled it out of one pack. That's definitely the most exciting opening memory I've got of any trading cards, and will be forever. Even if I pull $1,000 or £1,000 card, that's still going to be my most exciting opening memory. I don't think it's ever going to be beaten. So next up, am I excited for the English Chainsaw Man release? So yeah, I'm very excited for English Chainsaw Man. I think it's February 2024, so literally next month that is coming out. I really enjoyed opening it in Japanese. They didn't have any blurry cards, they were all very clean. And I actually really liked the cards. I know some people weren't a fan of some of the designs, but I liked them, and I'm definitely excited for the English release of Chainsaw Man. Next up, do I like that Pokemon TCG sets are so expansive and have so many cards in there? No, I don't, if I'm honest. So I think the only Pokemon set I've actually finished myself was Detective Pikachu, and that was because there was literally like, I don't know, like 12 cards to collect, right? Other than that, I haven't personally like collected a full set of anything. And that is just because there's too many cards. I don't like the idea of spending money on cards that I don't really like that much just for the fact I complete the set. I'd rather just buy the card in that set that I like, and then it's done, and then I can move on to some other cards I like. But yeah, the sets are massive, and I actually prefer Japanese, the way they do things in Japanese. So if you look at EV Heroes, obviously the set is smaller because it is just the evolution cards. Like the set identity is better, the set is smaller. Whereas when that came out to Evolving Skies, you've got like a mixture of two Japanese sets. So you had the Eevee cards, but you also had all sorts of other cards. And for me, it's like, I hate the fact that when I opened Evolving Skies, I got like one Evolution and then like 5 other cards that I wasn't interested in. Whereas when it's smaller and the set identity is much stronger, like opening EV Heroes was so much more fun. Because if you got a hit, it was an evolution, like, and that's all I wanted. So yeah, smaller sets I definitely prefer, but yeah, sometimes it is crazy the amount of cards they put into one set. If you could open a booster box of any set only once, what would it be? Any set only once. So this was from a Pokemon account, so I'll give an answer relating to Pokemon. Any set from Pokemon. I'm actually going to say Neo Destiny First Edition, because back in 2019 when I was when I was picking up WotC boxes, sealed WotC boxes for my collection, I really wanted a Neo Destiny one so bad, and I bought one that was, I feel like even then it was like £4,000 or something. Can't remember, but it was really beat up. Like the box was battered, and I ended up just selling it on because it was just too beat up for me to want to keep. And yeah, like I really wanted to open like a whole Neo Destiny First Edition or Unlimited, to be fair. Like the set itself had like such nice artwork, and I did open a few packs that I bought loose, but not a full booster box. I think that would be amazing to be able to open that, but it never happened, so that would definitely be the one I'd pick. Can you show us your PSA 10 Pokemon card collection? Yeah, I can do that. I'll do it in a separate video, of course, as that might take some time, and I need to find all my graded cards. They're all in all sorts of different places, so yeah, I'll do that in a future video, so thanks for putting that on there. What's your opinion on the longevity of Weiss and the intro of Union Arena to English? So I guess I kind of covered that in a recent video. The last video I posted about Union Arena coming to English, the battle of the anime TCGs. I think Weiss would have really struggled if Union Arena was playable. So it seems quite clear that Union Arena coming to English and that TCG itself is based on collecting and not playing. And I think there's going to be like an initial hype of when it comes out and the excitement of when it comes out to English in terms of collectors. But collectors get very distracted by new shiny things or new sets or new TCGs. So I think without the playability there, it's going to drop off. and that initial hype will die out. Not to say like the whole TCG will die out. I think there'll still be people that are really going to enjoy collecting it, but I don't think that's going to be enough for it to have like a huge impact on Weiss Schwarz. I think what will happen is some collectors will leave Weiss Schwarz and collect Union Arena. Some will collect both. And I think Weiss Schwarz has had a bit of a drop off in collectors anyway. I've been planning on making a video about that. But I don't think it's going to like massively impact Weiss Schwarz. I feel like they're struggling because they're kind of opposite. So Weiss Schwarz is heavily player based, and they make some decisions that aren't great for collectors sometimes. And then Union Arena is going to try and be heavily collectible, but not very playable. And I think like it's just really frustrating that one of them can't just nail it, like they did with One Piece. Absolutely nailed it. It's fun to play, quite easy to get into to play, and it's also collectible. Like that's all they need to do. Like whether it's Weiss Schwarz or Union Arena, one of you just sort it out and cater to both audiences, and it will just continue to be very successful. But yeah, so I think some collectors will potentially drop off Weiss just because of the IPs that Union Arena get. But I don't think that's massively going to hurt Weiss. All it will do is put the prices of playsets up, which have started to happen recently anyway. And, you know, if anything, I can't see it returning like pre-2019 or anything like that. But it will definitely like meet in the middle from where it had a huge increase in collectors to before where it had hardly any collectors. You know, there will still be some collecting it, but potentially maybe not as much as the start of 2023. So yeah, and then there was a part 2 of this, and the scalability of the resale market with map and mappable cases for SP hits. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Weiss Schwarz case of 18, there's a set amount of hits in that case, whether it's 2 SPs, 1 SSP and 2 SPs. They map the amount of hits per case of booster boxes, and what that means is if you buy a case, you can maybe open half of it and get all the hits. You know the remaining half boxes aren't going to have any of those big hits in, and you can sell them and not declare that actually you don't have a chance at hitting that $1,000 or $500 card, which obviously creates problems with this, you know, resale market, secondhand market. And I think it's been around so long, and a lot of the videos I made was to try and help get that information out there. I think my one of my first videos, the 5 things to know about before collecting Weiss Schwarz, is actually my most popular video on the channel with over sort of 5,500 views at the moment. So I'm really glad, because in that video I explain that exact point to put people off potentially buying dead boxes, or just being aware that if you're buying a loose box, it could be dead. And if you can, if it's a new release, potentially buy it from a reputable store. But obviously you might be looking to buy a box that's 2 years old, and you know, you just have to take that with a pinch of salt and be aware that it potentially might be dead. And that might change whether you want to buy it or not. But I think it's been going on for so long that I just think that that's the norm. I would love it if it wasn't the case. I'd love it if it was more random. But I think players benefit from that because it allows for play sets to a degree, because it's not random. But I guess they could still randomly do different amounts of SPs per case. They could fix it if they really wanted to. They haven't. So I guess they're not that concerned about it. But I as a collector, and I think most collectors would probably agree, that to have it random would be nicer. It means you don't have to buy a whole case. You can just buy a couple of booster boxes. I mean, there's nothing stopping you doing that from, you know, a reputable store. But yeah, in terms of like the second-hand market, there would be more people that would like to collect sealed product. Like, coming from Pokemon, collecting sealed product was always something I enjoyed, but to collect sealed product in Weiss Schwarz, you pretty much have to buy a sealed case, and it's just a cardboard box, so it doesn't even look nice to display. So yeah, I think if they change that, it would be good for collectors. But you know, as I said previously earlier in this video, like a lot of their choices aren't focused for collectors. So to be honest, I can't see it happening anytime soon. I think they will stick to mapping for quite some years, if not forever. But yeah, I'd love it not to be the case if I had the choice. Last question. Wow, there's two parts to the question. Will I be attending London Card Show in February? And if so, will I be there as a vendor? I haven't got tickets, but I do believe I will be going in February. It will likely be the Saturday. I'm not going as a vendor. I did go as a vendor last year, sort of about 6 months ago, but the store was quite new. It was very last minute. It was like someone there just happened to be a free table, so I didn't really have time to like get prepared like as a proper store, because a lot of people have big banners there with their logos and things on. But it was a good way to try it out and see whether it was worthwhile, and I'm not sure it was. Like, the audience that go to London Card Show aren't necessarily after those popular Weiss Schwarz sets, and the problem is I think this was potentially when Hololive Volume 2 just came out, and the product was coming in literally like a few days after the show. So maybe it would have been different if I had Hololive before the show, but that's just what the release date was. Like, I couldn't change that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think potentially next year I might vendor again if the store, depending on what happens with the store, because I do want to expand potentially to a few other TCGs on there. So yeah, maybe at some point next year I might vend, but even getting a vendor, even getting a table as a vendor, they sell out super quick. So even things like that is very difficult. So yeah, I want to say I'd like to, but yeah, in February, I won't be there as a vendor, but hopefully I'll be there just attending on the Saturday. But we'll see what happens later in the year. And then secondly, do I plan to sell Weiss singles on Card Cami? I don't have any plans for it at the moment. I do, however, sell singles on Card Market under the username Card Cami. But I don't open, like, I know in America when they sell singles, stores that sell singles open cases and list like every card for sale. The cards I put on Card Market are literally just whatever I open. So normally what you've seen on the channel, if I open a booster box, if I open 2 boxes, or if I open the trial deck cases like I did for Azure Lane, all of those cards end up on Card Market, which is essentially the UK and EU version of TCG Player, because we don't have that, or like we can't use it. It's only, we can go on it, but we can't sell on there. And Card Market is our version of that. So I put them on there. Some people might think, like, why don't you just put them on your website? The amount of time involved for adding pictures and listings for each and every card on my website, Card Market is just too easy to use. Like, I can just go on there, the card's there, you just type in the card number, the picture of the card, the set, it's all there. All I do is just put in how many of these cards I have for sale, the price, and hit sell, and it's immediately listed. It also obviously calculates the shipping, whereas if I had to do that on my site, I feel like it's going to take some time to figure out like how to price things based on how many things are in the basket. It's just way too easy for me to do it on Card Market versus my own site, and especially when I'm not selling singles of every set and every card in every set that comes out. Yeah, so for that reason, at the moment, I don't think I'll be listing singles on Card Cami on the website. But if you do want singles, I don't even know, like, if you can follow accounts on Card Market. I assume you can, maybe you can't, but yeah, Card Cami on Card Market is where I list any spare singles I have, but I'm not opening cases and listing all of the cards and play sets and things like that. I would just list whatever I open. But that's not saying, like, if a new set comes out and I decide to open a case of it, Obviously, those cards will end up on Card Market. So yeah, if you're interested, check me out on Card Market for the odd singles here or there, or some singles if I do decide to open a case. But it's been quite some time since I've opened a whole case of Weiss Schwarz. So yeah, that's the end of the Q&A. So yeah, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who submitted questions for the Q&A. Really appreciate it, and I had loads of fun just going over those questions and figuring out the answers to them. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit like on the way out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.